TS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you for affording us this opportunity to share with the Honorable House on the issues that have been raised before us. And for purposes of the record, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Senator William Kisang, yes, raced with me for the 5-kilometer distance at the 10 marathon. As to whether he won or not, that is a matter of debate another time. But quickly, Honorable Speaker, please allow me as a preliminary just to say that the ministry is restructuring and realigning all our operations to be in sync with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda of government. This restructuring and realignment includes the following, some of which are relevant to the question that the Honorable Senator Kisang has asked. Number one, for the Safari Rally project, we are embarking on a fresh 3-year contract following amendment of the initial contract, extending the period for hosting the WRC Safari Rally from 3 to 6 years. We are using this transition phase to restructure the whole WRC Safari Rally project, and I'm pleased to report that we already have succeeded to return the Safari Rally to its traditional Easter season from June. Number two, on training camps, we are instituting a mapping exercise, including enacting rules for registration, operation, reporting, and monitoring of these camps. On funding, we are ring-fencing the Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund, the SASDF, to primarily focus on development of sports and the creative economy. And further, we are introducing measures to enhance transparency, accountability, and transparency, including disclosure of any co-funding from sponsors before any federation is funded by government. Those are some of the things we are doing generally, Honorable Speaker. Now allow me, with respect, to move right away from question number 70 on the training camps. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Senators, Section 46 of the Sports Act 2013, as read together with Regulation number 4 of the Sports Registrar Regulations of 2016, places the responsibility of regulating professional sports persons and bodies through licensing on this Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy, and Sports. This includes training camps, sports academies, athletes, referees, agents, and coaches. It is important to note, for the record, that indeed training camps bear some benefits, including talent development, performance enhancement, skills transfer and knowledge sharing, exposure to international competitions, and other economic benefits. Let me disclose to this Honorable House that when we came to office, we realized that the benefits of training camps notwithstanding, this ministry had not been undertaking the important task of registering, monitoring, and overseeing operations of training camps. This is a responsibility that had been relegated to Athletics Kenya. And obviously, it has been a gap I must disclose to this House. Now, to deal with this aberration, to deal with this gap, I directed the Office of the Sports Registrar and the Anti-Doping Agents of Kenya to immediately commence mapping of all training camps. I'm glad to report that this exercise took place from the 27th of March to 3rd of April, and the primary objective really was to identify all training camps and get together all the necessary information. The exercise was conducted in a total of 53 training camps, and in the submission, the documentation that I have provided to this Honorable House, we have provided under Annex A the information that was obtained from that mapping exercise that I ordered be undertaken. Honorable Speaker, the team that undertook this mapping exercise ran into quite a number of challenges that I have to bring to the attention of this House. Some camps closed to evade access by the team that was undertaking this process. And we noticed a very, very clear unwillingness of camp managers to share relevant information for purposes of this mapping exercise. There was lack of awareness and understanding of existing laws and policies among the people who manage these spaces. And you could notice that there was a lot of sensitivity around issues of doping, licensing, making camp residents hesitant to provide necessary information. There were many instances where camp managers disappeared, making it difficult to undertake this exercise. Nonetheless, the ministry was able to issue 1,018 licensing forms to the 53 training camps and other relevant target groups. These forms have not been returned yet, and that is a process that is being followed up. I want also to indicate that in February this year, I instructed the sports registrar to distribute licensing forms to Athletics Kenya, the federation that is responsible for managing athletics in the country, and a total of 300 application forms were provided to AK. AK has made a commitment to make returns on this exercise. With regard to Elgeyo Marakwet County, it is worth noting that this county boasts of the highest number of training camps in the whole country, primarily because of the very unique location of this county, the high altitude, the incredible beauty. This place is absolutely beautiful, out of this world. I visited the other day and I had difficulty living. And because of all these factors combined, Elgeyo Marakwet is a very popular destination for training camps. And some of the popular camps in this county includes Iten Athletics Training Camp, Esemi Athletics Camp, Kechei Ikaika, Volea Runex, St. Patrick's Iten, Kapsait Sparks Training Camp, in Kapcherop, Kamoswar Community Athletics Camp, Global Sports Communication Training Camp in Kaptagat, Mokuo Training Camp, Rosa Athletics Camp in Kaptagat, and Kapngetuni Training Camp. The ministry remains fully committed to making sure that this whole space is better managed, and I particularly want to add that we have put together a very robust multi-agency team, especially to help us deal with the challenge of doping. And we have also given this team, headed by former Member of Parliament, former elite athlete Wesley Korir, we have given them the responsibility to start this exercise. And I have information that they have already started this process. And among the things they have done is to include a register of athletes, because currently we do not have a database of all our athletes, which makes the anti-doping effort quite problematic. They are creating a database for athletes, a database of the training camps, to encourage athletes to be part of this program. We have suspended the fee payable. There is a fee of 2,000 shillings that is payable for athletes to register to enter the database. We have waived that fee. And so I'm encouraging all athletes to take advantage of this waiver and to register to be part of the database for free. That database will also include the spaces where they train, including the training camps. On the segment B of the question, how many foreign athletes are currently training in the aforementioned camps? As I've already mentioned, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Senators, this is a process that is ongoing in terms of getting the data together. And I must admit to this Honorable House that it is really was an oversight for this ministry not to have put this information together previously. But we are fixing it. I'm glad that we are fixing this. And while I may not with certainty give the exact number of foreign athletes in the country, in due course, and I can commit to this House that within 30 days, after the conclusion of this exercise that is already going on, I'll be able to provide this information, both to the Honorable Senator Kisang and for the benefit of this House. Those application forms are already going on, and I'm glad that we have included a whole cross-government effort to include KRA, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the NHIF, the DCI. It is a collective effort to just make sure that this is properly done. I have also provided information there in terms of the time, the seasons, when you expect a lot of these athletes in the country. As we know, athletics is pretty seasonal, and all those details have been provided in the answer. And from the foregoing information we have provided, it's important to appreciate that the peak season of foreign athletes in Kenya is normally between January and March, according to the mapping of the seasons that we have done. Segment C requires me to clarify whether foreign athletes are registered and indicate the type of visa granted to them. Again, as I've already indicated, the process of mapping, the process of registration, the process of monitoring is ongoing. What is important for the House to note is that we have brought structure to that space, and we have also provided resources, sufficient resources to help us manage that whole space. And so as soon as we conclude that exercise, we'll be able to give an indication on the exact status. But as to visa, the ordinary visa, the normal visa granted to this type of visitors is the tourist visa. And after the tourist visa is granted, a license is supposed to issue. And that is where we have had an issue, because that space has not been very well governed. And as I've said, it is something we are fixing. We also have every intention of making changes to the policy and legal framework by taking a fresh look at the law to manage this space better as Kenya becomes more and more attractive to foreign agents and foreign athletes. Segment D is asking information on the exchange between local and foreign athletes using Kenyan camps and ensuring that local talent is not overshadowed by our visitors or our foreign friends. Honorable members, in order to ensure that knowledge exchange occurs between the two segments of local and foreign athletes using our camps, and to prevent what has been described as overshadowing of local talent, we intend, and we are already doing this, to invest heavily in licensing, making sure that there's collaboration, there is synergy in that whole ecosystem between the camps, the Kenya Academy of Sports, the State Department of Immigration, and education institutions where a lot of athletes are domiciled. We are also developing policy guidelines on this whole area of camps and reviewing the Sports Act and the National Sports Policy to manage that whole ecosystem better. But I can say, even for now, that there is a very symbiotic relationship between our local athletes and foreign athletes. We have had some really, really top-level elite athletes like Mo Farah training here with us, and definitely it has benefits of the two sets of athletes training together. Besides the fact that under our sports safari project, where we are using sports to promote tourism, this also encourages, helps to market our country and attract increased number of visitors, promoting areas like Elgeyo Marakwet and other parts of the country to the outside world. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator Kisang, before you ask your supplementary question, I would like to give this opportunity to Senator Olekina to give some remarks to the delegation of lecturers and students from Masai Mara University, Narok. Please, Senator Olekina.
Mr. Speaker, sir, let me appreciate you for your magnanimity in allowing me to welcome the students and the leaders from Masai Mara University. I want to encourage them, and as you are visiting here today, this university has turned Narok into the go-to place. Properties in Narok, the prices have now escalated because of the fact that we have a university. I just want to encourage you and to advise you that when you're visiting here for an academic exercise, please go back to Narok, knowing very well that you're fully represented. Ensure that you engage the businesses in Narok community, all the businesses in Narok, so that you can get internships, so that you can be able to ensure that when you're in college, before you graduate, you've already lined up your job. So I want to encourage you to continue, and others who are not here, to always come and visit. But most importantly, ask yourself, what is in it for me? What is my visit here for? Here we see us arguing. I'm sure you are entertained with a back-to-back argument between the senator for Nandi, but that is normal. That is representation. Maybe the senator felt like there was something which he really needed to do. You need to take this opportunity to learn, and I thank you for coming, and I will definitely be visiting the university so that we can engage to see how you can create opportunities for yourself within the businesses that surround Narok County. We don't need to go to Nairobi to look for jobs. We can create, we can realign the existing resources. I know the former chancellor, who had a lot of challenges, had started a cooperation with the Chinese to be able to produce medicine. I hope that the instructors who are here, or the lecturers who are here, can continue, engaging further in collaboration with other universities abroad so that we can be able to make Masai Mara University a go-to place. And Masai Mara University can be able to actually now begin packaging perfumes. They can package a lot of other things because of our environment. Otherwise, I thank you, and I welcome you again.
Thank you, Senator Olekina. What is your intervention, Senator Sifuna? Senator Kisang, what is your supplementary question?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you realize that two of the questions are not yet answered, but I'll wait for the 30 days the CS has requested, because you noticed that he said they started the assignment around February, March, but they'll complete in due course. Honorable Speaker, I have two supplementary questions. Number one, actually it's like comment. Number one is I would urge the CS, especially to have a desk in his office within the ministry for the young athletes, because sometimes they get invitations to go and run out of the country, but it takes time for them to access or to get the passports. So it is important that you set up a small desk between yourselves and AK, so that they don't miss an opportunity to go and show the talent and make money. So it's important that you have a desk to assist, even if they don't have money. Sometimes we contribute as leaders from those regions to give them money for processing passport. I hope the new fees that were proposed by the CS Kindiki they'll go back to the old rates because of our youth. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I also want the CS to tell us what plans does he have, especially for the athletes who go around outside there. They get maybe token, they make some money, and then after a while, some of them, they don't have knowledge in terms of investments. The ministry should be able to assist in conjunction with the county government so that we can have maybe even partner with local universities or local colleges around the region so that we can impart knowledge in terms of investments, in terms of entrepreneurship, so that they can invest, because this is a seasonal talent. Maybe by the time you are 40, 38 years, or you get an injury, it becomes the end of you in nurturing that talent. So what plans do you have to impart knowledge so that they can do investment and then they can have quality life after retiring?
CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On the issue of easing travel for athletes, I want to admit that previously this has been a major challenge for our athletes traveling out of the country. There have been challenges with the processing of passports, processing of visa. But I'm glad to report to the House that the reforms that have been undertaken by this administration in the last 1 year have greatly eased the process of passports. And it's now faster, it's now easier, not just for athletes, for Kenyans generally to access passports. That is something really we must applaud the State Department for Immigration. Honorable Speaker, specifically for sportsmen and women seeking to travel out of the country, the ministry has made itself available to make interventions anytime that is required. Personally, I intervene pretty much on a daily basis. Sometimes I can report to this House, we get passports, visas, processed in a period of 12 to 24 hours. And I really want to acknowledge the incredible work going on at the State Department of Immigration. The Principal Secretary there, Ambassador Bitok, is doing an amazing job. They have been very responsive. Anytime we make a request for a sports person going out of the country and we need a passport accelerated, they have been very responsive. I also want to acknowledge the diplomatic missions located here. The Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Creative Economy and Sports has built a brilliant relationship with all diplomatic missions here. And often as yesterday, you will call an ambassador, even on a weekend, you'll fix an appointment at short notice, and they have really assisted to accelerate issuance of visa. We have not had any situation, any case in the last 1 year where any of our athletes has failed to honor an international obligation, either because of delay in passport or delay in issuance of visa. I want to assure this House that we'll continue to be vigilant, we'll continue to be alert, and we'll continue to be available to support our sportsmen and women to access passports and visa on time. We have also submitted to Cabinet, I can disclose here, we have submitted to Cabinet a request that our top sportsmen and women who really do an amazing job branding this country, marketing Kenya like nothing else does. Indeed, Kenya's top export to the world is our sportsmen and women. They do more to brand Kenya, to market Kenya than anything else. We have requested that they be considered for special issuance of diplomatic visa, access to certain spaces which can ease their movement when they are representing the country. And that is under consideration. On the second question, Honorable Speaker, on athletes and how they manage their finances, it is depressing indeed to see some of the biggest names in our sports suffer greatly in retirement. Last year, among my first acts after being named Cabinet Secretary for Sports was to travel to Kericho to lay to rest the first man to win an Olympic medal for Kenya, Wilson Kiprugut Arap Chumo. And we laid this great Kenyan at the age of 84 after a life in retirement that was truly shameful. And we can say that about many former sportsmen and women who, upon retirement, lead truly difficult lives. We are making interventions, working closely with Athletics Kenya. Among those interventions is a program that we are working out together with the Kenya Commercial Bank, KCB. Under this program, we provide what you can call investment intelligence to sportsmen and women and customized training packages for sportsmen and women on how to manage their finances better, on how to invest better, and also just to be finance savvy and be in a position where they can take better care of their finances. The shelf life of your average sportsman and woman is about 10 years. It's a very short shelf life. Before you know it, the gravity train has stopped and you are at retirement. And so we are using this program to prepare them for that. We are also pleased to inform this House that on the 30th of this month, a few days from today, we'll be launching Kenya's first ever pension scheme for athletes. And so athletes are going to have a pension program where they can put in some resources. Government will also put in some resources to provide a program where after retirement, you'll have some pension benefit, just like any other salaried Kenyan. We have also started a process in the ministry to develop a social security policy for what you can call our veterans, our veteran sportsmen and women. And these will include sensitization of all stakeholders, including athletes and the veterans themselves. And also, honorable senators, we are putting together a program where we can make good use of our retired sportsmen and women. The ongoing Talanta Hela program, for instance, has tapped into retired sportsmen and women as scouts, providing their services as scouts in the program of sporting and developing young talents. And as we do that, we are also honoring our retired sportsmen and women. Earlier this year in August, we hosted the Hongera Awards, where for the first time in the history of this country, we honored our elite legends that have decorated our sports over the years. We have also decided that most of our sporting facilities will be named after these legends. And we'll be starting this Saturday. I can inform this House that this Saturday we have a special ceremony in Kericho to formally, officially rename the Kericho Green Stadium as Kiprugut Chumo Stadium in honor of the late Kiprugut Chumo, the winner of Kenya's first ever Olympics medal. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Next question is question number 71, which will be asked by Senator Wamatinga on behalf of Senator Murango.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'm licensed to ask a question on behalf of Senator of Kirinyaga, who's attending an official visit in Kirinyaga County. Mr. Speaker, sir, may the CS tell us what has occasioned the delay in the completion of the project of the construction of Wanguru International Stadium in Moya constituency in Kirinyaga County, which was launched in 2020? B, could the Cabinet Secretary disclose pending works and state the projected date of completion? And C, what is the total budgeted cost of the project, and could the Cabinet Secretary provide the status of payments to the respective contractors and also disclose the outstanding amount? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I submit that Wanguru International Stadium was one of the 4 legacy projects of the immediate former administration. Now, regarding the delay in the completion of the Wanguru Stadium, I wish to indicate the following: that the project was handed over to the main contractor, VV Enterprises, on the 5th day of August 2020, with the construction commencing on August 12th, that same year, 2020. However, the implementation of the project faced a number of delays due to weather, persistent rainfall, and such factors. We also then that year had to face the COVID-19 pandemic, which had a significant impact on the speed or expedition of delivering that project. But those factors notwithstanding, I'm pleased to inform the House that the stadium has been fully completed according to the scope of works that had been indicated at the commencement of that project. The stadium has been put to use once in a while, and to ensure effective management and utilization of this facility, the ministry is in the process of finalizing a joint management and maintenance framework with the county government of Kirinyaga. We believe that in the next couple of weeks, this framework should be ready for execution between our Sports Kenya agency that manages the facilities. Now, on this segment B of the question on the budget, this project at the time of its commencement was budgeted at 696 million Kenya shillings, 473,751 cents. Additionally, the Ministry of Interior, in coordination of national government, contracted another contractor called Jimro Enterprises at the cost of 176,412,767.50 cents to undertake construction of additional 10 steel stands and electrical installation. The contractor was also required to install a generator at the county commissioner's residence to facilitate the hosting of a garden party during the Mashujaa Day celebrations, which were hosted at this particular stadium in 2021. The decision to contract Jimro Enterprises was occasioned by a presidential directive that year to host Mashujaa Day celebrations at this Wanguru Stadium, noting that the construction works by Vivi Enterprises Limited had faced delays during to what we have indicated as the weather conditions and the impact of COVID. So far, the records indicate that Jimro Enterprises Limited has received payments totaling 170,957,650.80 cents from the Ministry of Interior, because that was contracted directly from by the Ministry of Interior, with an outstanding bill of 5,455,117.50 cents. As for Vivi Enterprises, they have already been paid 679,535,567.23 cents, with an outstanding payment of 16,938,194.15 cents from the State Department of Sports. The records do indicate, Honorable Speaker, Honorable House, that as per the scope of work, this project is concluded, and in fact, in our list of facilities, Wanguru Stadium is available for public use. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator, you have a supplementary question? Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and Honorable CS, for that comprehensive answer. My question is, there are several stadiums that have been commissioned by the previous regime, and they lacked a uniform design. One of them is Wanguru, there's one in Embu, there's one in Lorengo, which have all since stalled at different development stage. What is the ministry doing to ensure that moving forward, we have a uniform design that would be easy to oversight, that would be easy to follow up, and most importantly, to control the cost factor, which has been escalating, as it has been the case in Oreguruni? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, and please, Cabinet Secretary, if you could be brief on the supplementary answers so that we can move faster.
Very, very quickly, just to inform the Honourable Senator that indeed there are a number of stadia that commenced under the previous administration. We have done a quick assessment of those stadia. We have gone further also to subject these projects to a forensic audit just to determine the value for money that was put into these projects. That forensic audit is at a tail end. As soon as that process is concluded, we have every intention to complete every project that has already expended public resources. We don't intend to let any of these projects go to waste. And as far as for standards, I'm pleased to inform this House that the ministry has now developed a sports and creatives infrastructure master plan. We now have a master plan that is very clear on what kind of facility to do at the international level, at a regional level, and at a community level. That master plan will guide all future sports facilities in the country. I submit.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. We'll move on to the question number 72 and 73, which is by the Senator for Kisii County, Senator Richard Wanyonka. Senator Mbugua, on his behalf, you can ask the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 72 on behalf of the distinguished Senator for Kisii, the Honorable Senator Richard Wanyonka. A, what was the total amount of money utilized by the government in organizing and hosting the 2023 World Rally Championship Safari Rally event? And could the Cabinet Secretary provide a breakdown of the expenditure and disclose any funding received from WRC International? And B, could the Cabinet Secretary provide details of the audit findings of the Office of the Auditor General on the utilization of public funds in organizing and hosting the WRC Safari Rally? And C, are there any outstanding bills related to the WRC Safari Rally? And if so, could the Cabinet Secretary provide information of the nature of the bills and the projected timelines for their settlement? Thank you, Speaker.
Senator Mbugua, proceed with the next question as well, so that the CS can tackle both.
A, could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the total funds received by the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund since July 2022 and indicate how the funds have been expended during the same period? And B, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a list of all the stakeholders, the organizations and individuals that have benefited from the grants from the fund, stating the specific purposes for which these funds were allocated to each recipient? Thank you.
Cabinet Secretary, please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Straight away to question 772. The WRC Safari Rally is a special project established by Gazette Notice. The 2023 budget for the WRC Safari Rally was Kenya shillings 1,486,369,782, broken down as follows. The Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund was to provide 1,341,369,782, sponsorship from the Kenya Commercial Bank of 100 million, and TV licenses amounting to 45 million. It's important for this Honorable House to note that the 2022 budget, the previous year, for this event was 2.5 billion. And we made effort right from the outset when we took office to cut this budget significantly, and we reduced this budget by close to 1.1 billion shillings, from 2.5 billion to 1.486 billion. The preliminary report from the WRC Safari Rally Project Secretariat indicates that the 2023 budget of 1.48 billion was utilized as follows. And I have provided a summary, Honorable Speaker. I have provided a table where we spent 487,200,000 to the WRC promoter. Normally you pay a subscription fee to the promoter, and so from that budget 487,200,000 was wired direct to the promoter. The steering and local organizing committee and the secretariat utilized 228,810,692. The event hosting, the actual budget for the event was 770,359,90 shillings. Honorable Speaker, the same preliminary report, I'm calling it a preliminary report because it's under review by the ministry, from the WRC Safari Rally Project Secretariat indicates that there was an over expenditure of 272,288,582. The ministry has received this preliminary report and is subjecting it to verification for further action. The same preliminary report from the project secretariat indicates that there are pending bills totaling to 38,762,13 shillings. And we have provided details of those pending bills that is annexed to my submission as Annex C. The ministry is subjecting this report to verification for further necessary action. All returns from the WRC Safari Rally project will be subjected to audit and the reports made public. And that will be done soon as the ministry concludes the verification exercise that is currently ongoing. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Cabinet Secretary, there was question number 73 as well.
Straight on to question number 73, Honorable Speaker. We have provided a table, we have tabulated the funds that have flown into the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund from July 2022. And Honorable Speaker, the tabulation runs from July 2022 to June 2023. And that whole figure in that table with full details provided totals up to 10,427,518,883. The board that manages this fund has approved funding as detailed in Annexure D, but just as a breakdown, 4.7 billion has been disbursed for the promotion and development of sports. 885 million has been disbursed for social development, including the promotion of universal health care. 886 million has been disbursed for the promotion of the arts. The following question is providing a list of organizations and individuals that have benefited from grants. And Honorable Speaker, we have supplied Annexure D, the annex marked as Annexure D, which provides details of all recipients of funding or support from the fund, including federations and public institutions. That is duly provided, Honorable Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator Mbugo, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. On question number 73, on the sports, arts, and social development, Mr. Cabinet Secretary, I've gone through the recipients, and it seems that your ministry has prioritized sports and somehow ignored arts and social development, where persons with disabilities would benefit. I would want you to address that, on that, as well as comment on the mistreatment of the Special Olympic teams when they went to represent Kenya and they were suffering because they didn't have any proper funding. Thank you.
Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable Speaker, I want to assure this House that the ministry has developed a very balanced structure on supporting the whole talent ecosystem. Under the Talanta Hela program, we target to develop talents, to monetize talents across all sports disciplines and across the whole creative sector. It is only in the last 1 year, for instance, Honorable Speaker, that we have put money in theater, we have put money in film, we have put money in schools for talent development. I can disclose to this Honorable House that for the first time in the history of this country, this fund provided 267 million Kenya shillings to support all talents in schools. We funded the Kenya Drama and Film Festival. We funded the Kenya Music Festival. We funded the Kenya Term 2 School Ball Games. All those amazing games you saw in Kakamega, the incredible numbers you saw at Buhungu Stadium, the live broadcast you saw KBC broadcasting, the Kenya School Games for the first time in the history of this country, it was because of the funding of 267 million shillings from this fund to support that talent development. In that talent development, there is no discrimination. Indeed, the mantra of the ministry, the mantra of this government led by His Excellency William Samoei Ruto is leaving no one behind. We are leaving no one behind. And with regard to the arts, the creatives, we are very deliberate, we are very intentional, we are very structured in making sure that we invest heavily in the development of the creative economy. You have noticed, honorable senators, that the president has even restructured this ministry. The ministry is now called Youth Affairs, Creative Economy, and Sports. And it is to show deliberate focus on the creatives. And under creatives, we are targeting everything. We are targeting content creators, film, theater, fine art, performing arts, pageantry, fashion. Everything under that creative economy is receiving priority and receiving support. We are even putting money in innovation. Next week, we will be unveiling the Kenya Innovation Week Commonwealth Edition, and we have invited all the 56 member states of the Commonwealth who will be in Nairobi as part of our effort to promote innovation. And we have also launched the Presidential Innovation Challenge and Award, through which our young people can showcase their innovation. The best innovation will each walk away with 5 million Kenya shillings startup fund. All this supported by this fund. So whether it is innovation or creativity or sports, this fund has an eye on all of them. With regard to what the Honorable Senator is referring to as our Paralympics team, we take very good care of our Paralympics team. We take time to support them. And the team that went to Germany was fully funded by the ministry. When they returned, we organized a special reception hosted by His Excellency the Deputy President, flanked by Engineer Peter Tum, the Principal Secretary in the State Department of Sports. And this is among the teams that received their cash awards on return. They received their cash awards immediately. I'm assuring this House that we have our finger on the pulse of sports and the creatives in this country, and we are doing everything humanly possible to take better care of our sportsmen and women and our creatives, and I have no doubt that we are doing a sterling job at it. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Senators, we are going to allow questions from the floor. But because of time, I think we only have about 15 minutes. For the convenience of this House, I will use order number 34 to extend so that we can go up to 1:15 to ask the questions. I would urge the senators that I call to be very brief with their questions, because there are many senators who want to ask questions. Senator Mohamed Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll be very brief. Let me first of all take this opportunity to thank the Minister for his quick action. He flew to Marsabit to look at the stadium in Marsabit, and I think that matter is being sorted out. Yes. I would want, on behalf of Marsabit people, tell you thank you very much. Going back to my question, Mr. Speaker, in Marsabit we have 20 wards in Marsabit County, and each ward will be having tournaments in those wards. We have about 20 teams, about 6 teams in each ward. So, Speaker, what I wanted, the Minister knows very well, Marsabit is prone to banditry attacks and cattle rustling. Drug menace also is there, Mira, and so many things. And I would want to know what the Minister can do to finance those tournaments. And if he's saying yes, who shall we talk to so that we can expedite so that the tournaments can be started as quickly as possible? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. We'll take another question that the CS can answer 2 questions at a time. Senator Edwin Sifuna.
Thank you, Speaker. It's nice to see my good friend, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, who, as you know, is my predecessor as the SG of ODM. And although he has once publicly denied knowing me, Kipetero, I still consider him a friend and political mentor. Bwana CS, in the run-up to the elections in 2017, the then Deputy President made a certain pronouncement on the status of the construction of 9 stadia. I know you have the list that includes Kamarin, the one in Wote, Moyale, Mombasa, Kisumu. Now recently, the country was awarded rights to host, together with our regional neighbors, the 2027 AFCON, which I must say I was pleasantly surprised, because I don't expect much from the current regime. But I was pleasantly surprised that we won that hosting rights. I want to know, now that we got the hosting rights and you announced construction of other stadia for that particular tournament, is it the position of this government that the 9 stadia that were listed, including Kamarin, Wote, Moyale, and the others, are no longer priority for this government, and they are not going to be built to the international standards that were promised back then?
Thank you, Senator. Cabinet Secretary, if you can tackle the 2 questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Senator Chute. I can assure you that we were very happy to come to Marsabit. We had a good time. Thank you for being such a fantastic host to us, together the governor and the leaders of Marsabit. And I'm assuring you that we have made all arrangements necessary to complete Marsabit Stadium. We are really looking forward to complete the works and coming to open Marsabit Stadium. As regards the competitions in the wards, yes, I do agree that Marsabit is among those counties. First of all, Marsabit is an amazing county, beautiful county. It's the cradle of humankind, but it has really not been integrated fully in the talent development program of this country. And I'm pleased to inform you that the Talanta Hela Inter-County program that targets under 19 sports men and women, both boys and girls, will be the answer to this program. And we'll be very happy to sit down with yourself, Senator, through the Principal Secretary, Engineer Peter Tum, who is right here with me, to work out programs how Marsabit can take full advantage of this program. My very good friend and brother and successor as ODM Secretary General is Senator Edwin Sifuna. Of course, I do know you, Senator, through the chair. And Senator, congratulations for the good work you're doing as Secretary General of ODM. I want to assure you, Senator, that this current regime will surprise you big time, pleasantly, by performing beyond your wildest expectation. We have our finger right on the desires of the people of Kenya, and we have a president who is not afraid to lead right from the front, both at home and away, as you saw in the European Parliament just 2 days ago. Quickly to the 2 questions, Honorable Speaker. The stadia that His Excellency President William Ruto made a pronouncement on, stadia that started but then stalled. They include this Marsabit Stadium that we were in Marsabit to inspect. They include Wote in Makueni. They include Kamarin. I want to report to this House that we have visited all the 9 stadia. We have made an assessment of what needs to be done, and I'm assuring this House that completion of this 9 stadia is a top priority for the ministry and for this administration. And so our AFCON commitments notwithstanding, we have placed a priority on completion of this stadia. And just to assure this House also that we have every intention to spread the benefits of international competitions across the country. This Saturday, the 25th, we will be flagging off the CECAFA Under-18 football tournament, bringing together 8 countries across the CECAFA region. And this tournament is being hosted in Kisumu and Kakamega. We have also won the rights to host CHAN, the CHAN Championship, which will be hosted in Nairobi and Kakamega. Right now, the Talanta Hela Inter-County playoffs are happening in Nyeri. And so we are assuring you of spreading the tournaments around and making sure that all Kenyans have a chance to partake of this incredible high trajectory of sports under the leadership of His Excellency William Samoei Ruto.
Thank you, CS. The next 2 questions will be asked by Paul Thangwa on this side and Senator Ole Kina on this side. Very quickly, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would want the CS to elaborate, because he has talked about the Talanta tournament. But my question was, we have World Cup where all over the world teams meet to get to know which one is the best. We have African Cup of Nations. All Africa countries get together to find out which one is the best. What about Kenya Cup? Is this the same thing you're talking about as Talanta, where 47 counties should compete to find out which is the best county? Question number 2. You have talked about the stadiums.
Senator
Kiambu.
Thangwa, please, let's...
Yeah, two. You said two
stick
questions.
No, one question for you and one question for...
Oh, this is very quick.
Very
I think
quick.
indulgence. Very quick, Mr. Speaker. Kiambu Kirigiti Stadium. It is all complete. We see it, but it is not open to the public. It is only open for the governor. When he has an event, the governor will do things there. When there's a public event, the governor will do. But the public is not, are not using the stadium. When are you going to hand over and open Kirigiti Stadium?
Thank you. Senator Olekina, very quickly, please, and briefly.
Mr. Speaker, my questions will be very brief and to the point. Cabinet Secretary, it is not enough to say that you are making plans. Article 153(4) requires you to submit regular reports on matters, so I would like to request that you do so. But I have 2 specific questions, and I've jotted them down so that I ask them specifically. One is following up on the question that was asked on behalf of Senator Onyonka on the issue of budgets. And I'd like to know from you, and if you're not able to substantiate now, you can submit to this House, what specific measures are being taken to ensure transparency and accountability in the allocation and utilization of the sports budgets in Kenya? Question number 2, which is also following up on your replies, which I said it's not enough. What specific strategies and initiatives are being implemented to ensure equitable talent development across all 47 counties in Kenya? And how is the Ministry of Sport working to identify and support talented individuals in underrepresented regions? And I ask that knowing that your budget is 6.4 billion.
Thank you, Senator. Cabinet Secretary, very briefly, please, the 2 questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On the question of Honorable Senator Thangwa, your Kenya Cup is actually the Talanta Hela Intercounty Cup, which is ongoing. The top 16 counties, we have done this countrywide. We started at the regional level. From the regional level, we have gone to the playoffs. They are concluding in Nyeri this afternoon, actually. After this session, I'm headed straight to Nyeri to close the playoffs. From the playoffs, 4 more teams or 4 more counties will join the 12 regional winners. We split the country into 12 regions. So we already have 12 winners of the 12 regions. They'll be joined by the 4 winners of the playoffs for both boys and girls. And we are going to have our own County World Cup, starting on the 3rd of December to the 12th. The finals will be the showstopper at Jamhuri Day, graced by His Excellency the President himself. So that is really something we are developing in that regard. Kirigiti Stadium in Kiambu is one of our top facilities, constructed and completed. There are certain things that need to be sorted around Kirigiti, and I can inform you really that as we close a number of stadia for preparation for AFCON, Kirigiti has been lined up to be among the stadia that is going to be very, very active, while the rest are closed for AFCON. And once the pending issues are sorted out, including the issue of the track, when they constructed Kirigiti, they used tarmac, they used bitumen on the track, which really was not the right thing to do. And it needs to be removed so that you can have the right material on the track. Once all that is done, Kirigiti will be made available for use by the public. That I can assure you. Honorable Senator Olekina, I want to make a commitment of providing regular reports. Indeed, we will start by our scorecard for the last 1 year. When we submit the extra information we have committed to submit, we'll also include a record of our scorecard for the last 1 year to inform the House of what we have been able to do in the last 1 year. In terms of measures taken on transparency, we have been very deliberate. We have become very thorough. I did inform this House, for instance, that in 2022, The Safari Rally project cost the Exchequer 2.5 billion. We refused to spend a similar amount. We reduced that budget by over 1 billion. And we were able to deliver a rally with a budget less 1 billion, which really tells you about our commitment to reduce budgets, to cut budgets. We have also made it very clear to federations that now they have to follow a procedure where you apply for resources according to the regulations of the sports fund, bring your application 6 months in advance. We are putting together a team to do proper screening of budgets. Among the requirements we have placed on the federations is that if you have any extra funding, if you have any sponsorship, you have to disclose it. And I'm assuring this House that on the question of transparency, on accountability, there is absolutely no compromise. And finally, on equity, the equity really is our Talanta Hela initiative. And it is an initiative which is both physical and virtual. Honorable Speaker, through you, Senator Olekina can go to his Google App Store right now and search Talanta Hela app. Download that app. Any child or any youth in Narok County who believes they can do football, rugby, anything.
It's okay. There's no engagement. Yes,
I'm informing that it's a platform that we have provided that even if you are in the remotest part of this country, you can interact with this program and you can pick your talent.
Thank you.
But we are also sending scouts physically to those places where we may have challenges with access to this app. We will send scouts physically, and we are recruiting some of our top legends from the past to play this role of scouts. I submit.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. The last two questions will be asked by Senator Tabitha on this side and Senator Mazayo on this side. Very, very quickly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let me start appreciating the Honorable Waziri for the great job that you're doing. But just to narrow it, Bwana Waziri, as far as Talanta Hela is concerned, in the 47 counties, do you have a data of how many talents you've been able to create in each and every county, in each and every constituency? And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I'm a member of the Finance Committee. I've been able to look at the feedback that you've given on what Honorable Senator Onyonka had asked in regards to the budget of the WSR. And looking at the budget, you've talked about a cut with 1 billion. Then which makes me ask you, what was the benefit, either directly or indirectly, for the people of Kenya after this rally took place? And as you say that you did cut a budget, your report indicates very clearly that you have pending bills, which is a very big animal in this country. Then how do you justify reducing the budget is 1 billion and MACU, you still have pending bills for Kenyans in this country? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Stuart Mazayo, very quickly, please.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, swali langu ni moja mawili hivi kwa waziri wa michezo. Waziri, ni mipangilio gani ambao umeifanya kufikia hivi sasa kuona ya kwamba uhusiano wa FKF wale walio ndani ya ofisi hivi sasa na wale former footballers na fans wa mpira, kwa sababu huu ni mambo ya kandanda, watu wengi sana wanapendelea katika Kenya, wana wafuasi wakubwa. Ni mpangilio gani umefanya kuona kwamba uhusiano umerudi? Manake hivi tunavyoelewa ni kwamba uhusiano kufikia hivi sasa bado umezorota sana, hali tukijua kwamba mwezi wa pili utaweza kusimamia kuona kwamba kutakuwa na uchaguzi wa uongozi ndani ya Kenya kuhusikana na kandanda. Swali la pili ni kwamba
Sorry, Senator, swali moja tafadhali, wakati imekwisha.
Kwa kumalizia tu.
Wakati imekwisha. Wacha ajibu hiyo tu, because hata hakuwa na nafasi ya kujibu.
Shukran.
Cabinet Secretary, you may answer the questions. You only have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much,
within those 5 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, on data of talents, I can inform Honorable Senator Tabitha that indeed we have built, and this is a first in Kenya, we have built a database. I can even make even happier that from the activities going on in schools, we have pipelined or connected all those activities to the Kenya Academy of Sports. After the school ball games in Kakamega, for instance, we invited 2,000 of the best talent from those school games to Kenya's first ever national holiday talent camp. It is from that talent camp that you have seen youngsters now going to play for Kenya in the under-18 Sekafa Championship. A lot of the boys and girls who have been selected for those junior national teams came from that talent camp. Some have even gone to international academies. We have 3 boys right now, Aldrin Kibet, Alvin Kasavuli, Amos Wanjala, at the Nastic Soccer Academy in Spain, Louis Ngavi at the Montverde Academy in Orlando, in Florida, in the US. And so we have a good system of not only identifying them, but also progressing them and exposing them to further growth. And right now through the Talanta Hela app, and I would invite the honorable senators to visit the Talanta Hela screening room at Kasarani at the Kenya Academy of Sports. We have data on everybody and everything that we are coming into contact with. And today, if a scout in the UK or in Brazil wanted to know the best dribblers or the best in ball control, we can be able to give them. And we can be able to give them access to the Talanta Hela online system. So we have really upgraded that space of developing talents. The question of the benefits of the Safari Rally. The Safari Rally markets the country incredibly. The last Safari Rally was the most watched of the 13 series of the WRC Safari Rally. It markets the country and definitely has incredible benefits in terms of pulling in investment and tourism and just branding the country to that international audience. Pending bills is a challenge, and I want to indicate to this how the pending bills that we have received as a report from the project are not confirmed yet. We are subjecting that report to internal screening, verification, and assessment. We will only commit public resources to what is verified and what is authentic, because on transparency, on accountability, there is no compromise. It is absolute zero tolerance to misuse of public resources. Mheshimiwa Senator, ndugu yangu, rafiki yangu Madzayo, amezungumzia kuhakikisha kwamba kuna uhusiano bora kati ya shirikisho la kandanda humu nchini FKF na waliobobea zama za kale na vile vile mashabiki wa mchezo wa kandanda nchini Kenya. Nifahamishe Mheshimiwa Senator kupitia kwako Mheshimiwa Speaker ya kwamba kumekuwa na hali tatanishi, kumekuwa na changamoto tele kwenye mchezo wa kandanda hapa nchini. Itakumbuka ya kwamba mwaka mmoja uliopita tu Kenya ilikuwa imepigwa marufuku na shirikisho la kandanda ulimwenguni FIFA, na tulifanya jitihada za haraka sana kuhakikisha kwamba Kenya inarejea kwenye mashindano ya kandanda ulimwenguni. Hivi karibuni timu yetu ya Harambee Stars wamehusika kwenye mashindano ya kufuzu kwenye kombe la ulimwengu mwaka 2026. Timu zetu za kinadada vile vile zinaendelea hivyo, na ningependa kuhakikishia. Nashukuru Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Sorry, Cabinet Secretary. At this point I will have to interrupt. I thank you, Cabinet Secretary, for your time and for the answers that you've given to this House. Honorable Senators, it is now 1:15 p.m. The time I had directed pursuant to Standing Order 34, 2A, that the House will adjourn. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, 22nd November 2023 at 2:30 p.m.
Naam, mtazamaji, kikao cha asubuhi cha bunge la Seneti kimefikia kikomo, na nikirejelea tu machache kuhusu yaliyojiri. Naibu wa Spika Senator Kathuri Murungi alianzisha na kuendesha kikao. Hapo baadaye alimkabidhi usukani Spika wa muda Senator Abdul Haji, ambaye sasa ndiye amekamilisha kikao. Naam, waziri wa barabara na usafiri alifika mbele ya bunge la Seneti akakabiliana na maswali kutoka kwa Seneta Mwenda Gataya Mofaya, Seneta Tobiko, Seneta Dr. Halware na Seneta Tabitha Mutinda. Vile maswali kutoka kwa Seneta Thangwa na wengine wengi. Na katika kujibu maswali, Waziri Murkomen aliangazia ujenzi wa barabara mbalimbali humu nchini na pia akaangazia zaidi kuhusu uwanja wa ndege wa kimataifa wa Jomo Kenyatta. Waziri wa michezo na masuala ya vijana pia alifika mbele ya bunge la Seneti, naye alipewa muda wa kutosha na akakabiliana na maswali kutoka kwa Seneta Cheptumo, Seneta Murango, Seneta Olekina, Seneta Tabitha Mutinda na maseneta wengine wengi. Waziri aliangazia kwa kina kuhusu kambi za mazoezi kwa wanariadha, dimba la Talanta Hela, na hapo baadaye pia akaangazia mbio za magari, yani safari rally. Na baada ya Waziri Namwamba kujibu maswali, basi kikao kilifikia mwisho. Kati ya mawaziri watatu ambao tuliwatarajia hivi leo, wawili waliweza kufika. Hao ni Mheshimiwa Murkomen na Mheshimiwa Ababu Namwamba. Na mtazamaji, iwapo ulipitwa na yaliyojiri katika kikao hiki, tafadhali fanya hima utazame kwa tovuti ya YouTube. Unaweza pia kupata nakala ya Hansard kutoka kwa tovuti ya bunge la Kenya www.parliament.go.ke na upate kusoma mengi zaidi. Kumbuka matangazo haya ya moja kwa moja yanaletwa kwako na kitengo cha utangazaji cha bunge, yani Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit, chini ya ushirikiano